Welcome to April and Debbie Dish the Truth on Weight Loss, where we share the raw, real, and sometimes messy truth about our weight loss journeys.
I am Debbie, a weight loss coach who lost 100 pounds and have been living in maintenance for 4 years.
And I'm April, a weight loss coach, currently down 75 pounds and continuing my journey to lose 100 more.
Together, we'll explore the ups, downs, and everything in between, showing you that lasting weight loss is possible no matter where you are on your path.
And this week's question, we're going to answer Lori's. She wrote in and said, how do you come to love a new body, loose skin and all? I know after losing a significant amount of weight, it took me a long time to even try on smaller sizes or believe I could wear them. I have more weight to lose and welcome tips.
I think this is a great question for both of us because we have both lost a significant amount of weight, and it is definitely something to get used to and embrace. So, how have you dealt with it, April, so far in your journey?
Well, I think for me, I'm still at a place where I have another 100 to lose. And if anybody catches on to the numbers in the beginning, for the month of February, I did gain 4. So for the year, I'm down 1. And there's been a lot of stuff going on with that. But in terms of the loose skin specifically, this was a huge fear of mine for a long time. And I think it's been over time and doing a lot of the thought work and thinking and dissecting what I think about it and what it would mean and what it would look like and what that would mean about myself. Um, and of course, I already have some, and I still have fat and rolls, and I have everything. And there was a couple of things that I really started to just repeat to myself and talk to myself. And one was, I'm not a huge fan of the way it looks now, to be honest with you. I wasn't a huge fan of the way it looked at 379. I'm probably not going to be a huge fan of it when I get to goal weight. Like, that's just the reality of my body and how my life has gone because I've been overweight and then I lose. But being a huge fan doesn't mean you still can't respect and love and appreciate your body, which is what I have been learning to do. I'm still able to do a lot of things. Even people who are my size struggle to do, I'm able to do. I have always been active, walking and stuff. So I try to look at what I can do. I have a lot of like ailments with my knees and my back, and that can be very frustrating. But at the same time, it shows up for me every day. And I really do try to focus on that. And it keeps me going, and my heart is still pumping. And that is something to be super grateful for and to focus on. And then the other thing I told myself was I always have a choice. So just like people who don't like the way their teeth look can get Invisalign or whiten it, or somebody doesn't like their nose and they can get a nose job, or you don't like your hair color, you color your hair. But the loose skin is so hard for you or you really want to change it, there are surgeries. I'm not personally that person who would want surgery, I think, and I don't know until that time comes, but I don't love surgery. So I don't love getting put out, or put under. It makes me very nervous. So it's just definitely not like something I'm like, oh yeah, I'll just do that. But
Right out and do it.
yeah, but you never know. But at that point, when I told myself I have choices, there's also like skin garments that can suck it in and hold it in place better. And it's kind of like I don't know if frivolous is the right word, but it's kind of like when you look at what I was at 379 and what I was unable to do to what I'm already able to do more of now, 75 pounds down, what I will be able to do another 100. It's the choice of, am I going to think and spend my energy and time on what the skin looks like, or am I going to sit and think about what I can do now with my life and how much better my life is? It's not easy to change that, and it's still a work in progress, but that's kind of the path that I'm working on taking now, and I'm working on it now. So when I get there, hopefully I deal with it much better. So, but you have lost your 100 and kind of in maintenance. So I'm very curious too as to how you have managed it on your journey.
Well, what I think is so interesting about what you said is that it's a choice, right? Like we get to make choices about our hair, our teeth, all of those things. And we get to choose to love or like or hate or not value our whatever it is that we are working on. So we have been going through some old pictures here in our house, and I have found pictures of my mom, and I haven't visited with her in a very long time for many reasons. And these pictures are bringing up a lot for me. And one of the things that it is reminding me of, my mother was 5 foot nothing. I mean, if she was 4'11", she probably was lucky and weighed close to 300 pounds. And she carried everything in her stomach, which was the most comfort, like it was like a comfort blanket. But she also had no shame around her body, or at least it didn't appear so. Like she would walk through our house in underwear, maybe a bra, maybe not, but so
No,
I think for me, I know it's really different. Like it was just so I think for me, like body size has always just been kind of normal, maybe for me. And so I look like my stomach when I was a kid, I couldn't wear a bikini. My sister and I have different, she could. She remembers wearing one, but we couldn't wear a bikini because of how we grew up in a church and religion. And then Kevin and I were in a car accident, and I have a when I was 16, and I have a like 8-inch scar down the middle of my stomach. And I'm like, well, there goes bikinis out the window. But you know what? It doesn't, because it's a scar. I'm not the only person with a scar in my life and or in the world, and I'm
mhm,
not the only person in the world with loose skin. So I have fun with mine. And I think that that probably may sound strange to some people, like how do you have fun? But I embrace my body, whatever size it is, and not easily. Like you said, it is not an easy thing. It takes work. And but I will stand in front of the mirror, and I'll just shake when I'm naked, just like because this is my body and it shakes. And like you said, we're still breathing, and we're living life every day. So the gratitude for that is there. But the realization I've lost 100 pounds and I've got a very ripply, textury belly that I think would be fantastic at finger painting. Not finger painting, but like painting. You know what I mean? So find
yeah,
you can look at what you don't like about your body, and you can say, I don't like my chins. I carried a lot of my weight in my face. I do not like how this shows up sometimes. But it's also a reminder that I've lost a lot of weight. And so you can have the and. I don't like it, and whatever. I appreciate it at the same time.
absolutely. I think understanding that you don't like it, but appreciate, like you said, the and that's super important. It's interesting too, though. You had an environment growing up where everything was what it was. It was accepted. It wasn't necessarily judged, and I think that's amazing, right? Where I have a very different story, and I remember to this day, I think I was maybe 12, and I had this white bathing suit. It was a one piece, and it had like this tiger on it with these black stripes in the front. And I was going to go out and swim in our pool, and I was told I had to vacuum before going out to the pool. So I was bending over to unwrap the cord, and Steve, my father, came out and said, "You're way too big to wear that bathing suit." And he might have even called me a swear word, whatever, but like, but that devastated me. And I was always made fun of for my weight, through family, not friends, but like school, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So the fact that people judged me and how I looked started very young
Mhm.
and really did stay with me. And I think that might be where a lot of people, and I don't know if this is where Lori's coming from either, but for me, other people's opinions were very prevalent and hurtful, because I have feelings and I care.
Yeah.
But when you get to a certain point, and especially with going through coaching and learning, like, they can think that. But to be honest, in my day-to-day life, the people who love me and who are in my life every day would never think that or say that. They love me for who I am regardless. And I love me regardless. So that is what I focus on, because that person who's on the beach or on the street, I'm never going to see them again, first of all. Second of all, they probably have their own issue that it's just being deflected onto me for my what they're seeing that they might not like or find attractive, which is fine. But so many other people, I think it's a very hard find to find a human out there who A doesn't like something about themselves, or B has a habit that they need to change. I mean, there's nurses, doctors, they smoke. They know not to smoke, but and so it's a universal thing, I think, that we all don't want to be judged, but at the same time, it's our choice to listen to it and let it
Mhm.
affect anything. But and to Lori's question, I don't know I know that you were really comfortable with how your body went and accepted it, which is so great. I love the jiggle dance in the mirror. Clothing. She talked about she had a hard time finding herself to even try on smaller clothes. Did you go through that at all?
I still do. I still like sometimes I'll go into my closet and I'll be like, "Oh, this isn't gonna fit me." Or if I go to shopping, I will automatically grab a medium instead of a small because there's no way I can be a small. So I think that is something that we work through no matter, whether we're going down or going up. Like it's just because I remember thinking when I got to a 20W, well, I can't be a 20W. Well, I was, right? And so I think whatever way we're going, our brain kind of likes to play with us. And so, you know what? Try on the things and make yourself believe it. Like it's proving to ourselves that it really does. And that sometimes is always like a work in progress, continuing to reaffirm that we are that size and we can fit into those clothes. And it wasn't always, you mentioned what Steve said to you as a child. And I mean, how the hurt that carries with you all these years. And I mean, my sister, um, who's 17 months younger than I am, we were different sizes and I was small. She was not fat by any means, but that is what she was called. She was bullied constantly. And I still remember the names that they gave us. I'm not going to say it here because it really wasn't very kind, but
Yeah.
they had a name for me and a name for her that kind of rhymed. And, I know she carries that with her. And looking back at pictures, when we look back at those pictures of her, of, me, when you look back, I mean, we aren't what people made us out to be. Like, that descriptor sticks with us, but there's so many other things that are more important about who we are than that. But it's hard when it sticks with you. How do you let that go as a child hearing that?
Mhm. It's true. It does, and I think it's a matter of journey, and I didn't really necessarily let go of a lot of it until I found coaching. I was
Yeah.
coached through a lot and did a lot of that work, and it really is about listening to yourself and believing what you want to believe in, not somebody from 20 years ago, 30 years ago that's not even in my life anymore, and not a person I would want to be like. So why am I putting his value of what he's saying over my value of what I'm saying? And that's really something I've still been learning, is why is somebody else's opinion more valuable than my own? And I think that's where a lot of this comes into. But the other thing I thought of while you were talking is when you were talking about just try on the size, it always goes back to a number, right? Number on the scale, number of the
Yeah.
clothes.
Yeah.
And we're still putting worth and emphasis on on a number. And that kind
Hmm.
of just goes back into what we always kind of talk about, is there's so much more than that. I know you talk about your chin. I have a chin. I know there's my arm. I could like laundry list all of it, which is interesting because that kind of brings in, we did a challenge last week, right?
Yes.
Of leaving food behind, which Debbie and I are going to take pictures and put it on the Facebook page and show what we have left for the week. And it was an interesting exercise. And we're going to do a new challenge that has to do with the body for next week. But I wanted to also talk about how that went for you and for me, and what your thoughts were about doing the exercise.
Well, you know what? I didn't have a ton of leftovers because I think I've learned what hunger is, not hunger, but where my satisfied is, so I serve myself what usually is going to be that. We had chili this week. Kevin makes a great chili with cornbread, and it was kind of hard leaving those bites behind. Um, and I had some salad, so it was, and it's okay to throw away salad, right? I mean, people think, "Oh, we should eat it because it's salad." I didn't want it. I had quiche and salad. I wanted the quiche because I liked the quiche. So it was good. It was good to be really focused on, though I think I'm serving myself exactly what I need, my hunger is different every day. So even though I think it's the right amount, there were still bites, and it was good to have that realization.
Yeah, I found it to be interesting because it's not an exercise that I've necessarily ever taken on or embraced. So, and what I found was kind of what you were saying about the salad. I was like, well, if I'm leaving something behind, it's going to be the broccoli or the or the mushrooms. I'm eating the meat because I really am focusing on protein right now. So I focus on the protein, and sometimes there was some bread left. It depends. There was definitely a mix. It's not an attractive bowl of food anymore. Um, but it was tricky for me because I definitely try to, like, when I do save food in the past, it's like, "Oh, I can add that to my lunch tomorrow." So just putting it in a container to see this, amount of food at the end of the week was kind of, I was like, "Oh, that could have been a whole 'nother lunch." But I think that's the purpose, to see. It's an exercise, not necessarily something to do all the time, but it is to kind of, like, recalibrate, let you see that it's okay. And there are a lot of people that struggle, and myself included, especially up until a few years ago. Leaving food behind was just not something I did. It was something I really struggled with doing. But now, this week, it wasn't a big deal because I have done that work. But it was interesting that I noticed that I was focusing on what I was eating first versus towards the end, where before I would kind of just like eat whatever whenever. um, so I enjoyed it, and it did teach me a couple things about myself. And then I always, it wasn't a forced leaving food behind, which I think is important when we look at these kind of exercises. Is it's not good or bad. Like you said, there's a lot of times you didn't leave anything behind. That's okay. I think a
Yep.
lot of times people can really turn it into like, oh, I didn't leave anything behind, so I failed, or I didn't do a good job, or I ate too much. And that's not what that necessarily means. The exercise is to, one, get used to saying, I'm done, I've had enough, and leaving food behind is okay. It's not, wasteful or disrespectful to whoever cooked it or anything like that that we might have been told growing up, because I know we all have stories of that. But so it's a great exercise to learn, and it kind of just has you paying attention a little bit more, which is always the key when we're eating, right? To be more mindful, and
To be
any
more.
exercise that helps you do that, I think, is beneficial.
Yeah, and I like what you said, it's not disrespectful to the person who cooked it because I remember growing up, like, your mother worked so hard on that dinner, and well, yeah, but you know, I get that, but I also don't need it. And we don't learn that until we are much older, or some people don't learn that till they're much older. And like you said, it's not a fail. Like if you don't leave bites, it's a time to learn. Like n- nothing in your weight loss journey or your journey in life is a failure. It's an opportunity to learn and do better, or do different. Maybe not better, do differently.
Yeah, different choices, different days for different reasons. And I think we, as people who are so sometimes hyper focused on weight loss and judgments on that and actions, if we're able to take a step back and we really think about what we might consider a normal eater, a normal person eating, even they who might not have a weight issue, they overeat sometimes. They eat because of emotion sometimes. Whether we see it in the movies all the time, a girl got broken up and she's sitting there with ice cream and pizza with her best, and they're thin. That's life. That's living. There's holidays, there's special foods, there's whatever. really what we make it mean about ourselves that we overate in that moment,
Mm.
instead of just saying, okay, that was out to dinner. I might have overindulged a little bit. That's okay. Tomorrow's a new day and I can just go back to normal. And that's when it's, there was a thing I was listening to and I can't remember what it was, but they were talking about the instead of consistency, because it's such, people attach such a perfectionism thought
Mm.
process to it, to think about resiliency, which I thought was a really great point.
Um,
Like, okay, that happened today, what am I, or that happened yesterday, what am I going to do today? Just get back into it, just refocus. And I think that that was a really great point.
That I love that. Resilience is so good because we do put so much weight around consistency. And consistency doesn't, the definition is not, it doesn't say consistency is daily, it's continued effort. And I think we all miss that. It because consistency doesn't, if we miss a day, we didn't mess up. And when we talk about clothing in our bodies now, it's just like you and I have talked about this on this podcast and together in just our conversations. Like we don't wait for the number on the scale to live our best life. Like we don't wait to get to our goal weight to look cute and wear the things that we want. I mean, I know I remember shopping for a cruise when I was 240 pounds and I felt like the outfits I bought, I thought, "Oh my god, I look so cute." And I think that for a lot of people, they may not understand that. How can you look cute? And well, why can't I look cute at 240 pounds? They make cute clothes for all sizes, from newborn to, the largest. Wait, you can get
They
cute
do
clothes.
now, they didn't
They do
always,
now.
they do
That
now.
is
Growing up, I wouldn't say the same.
no, no. It's definitely shifted
It
to
has,
that,
yes,
but
it really has. And I think that's such a valid point about the clothes too, because we do say it all the time, like live for now, and it sounds so it might sound overly positive, right? But it's really not. I don't think either of us are saying, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think either of us are saying that you have to always think happy thoughts about everything all the time. It's not that at all. It's when you, so for example, when I was getting dressed to come on today with Debbie, I was focusing on my chin. You brought up the chin. Like the whole chin was just, that's all I saw. Was my chin this morning for some reason. And I was like, hey, you know what? The chin's there. It's there every day. Like, what am I going to do? It doesn't, entertain the thought for a moment if you need to, but also talk back to it. Like, yeah, okay, I don't like my chin, but I love my hair. And I do. I always have been appreciative of my hair. My mom had great hair, and I get my hair from my mom. She always had very thick, long, she would color it. I don't color mine, but um I love my hair. So I refocus on something else. It doesn't mean I'm not acknowledging what I don't like. It just means I've accepted that that's what is and I can't change that, but I can focus on something else that I do appreciate. So we're not saying negative thoughts don't happen or don't listen. You want to listen, you want to hear that, so you can say something back to it. I think whenever we just don't acknowledge the thought that we had, that's kind of where the trouble really comes into play.
I would 100% agree with you. And I do want to be also very honest with you and with the people who are listening. I don't love my body every day. I did call when I got to goal weight, I did call a plastic surgeon to have a breast job to perk them up, because they
Mhm.
shrunk. But after talking to them, it really wasn't worth it for me.
You.
And I also found this cool, it wasn't cool sculpting, it was something different. That they like freeze away the fat and they suck it, they bring it all in. And I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna do that." And I spent a lot of money on it. And you know what? It didn't do a thing. And so for me, I do like I love my body, but I also did want to change some things. And I think, I mean I think that's normal. It just
Absolutely not. It's across the board. You look at anybody that we as a society always admire superstars and singers, and they look so great and they look so perfect. Not all of them, but a very large majority of them has had something done. And you see it. These are thin, lovely, beautiful women who
Yes.
they need to have a boob job or they want to have a nose job, or and that's fine for them. There's nothing wrong. But I think we have this idea that there's something wrong with us because we don't love everything about us. And I don't think there's a person out there, guys included, that wouldn't like more hair or wouldn't like straighter teeth or, like I said, anything. We're very hard critics on ourselves, and it's always about the looks.
Yeah.
But why? I've always, and myself included, I have my own things, but again, it's like listening to it, acknowledging it, but then let's look at something else. Let's look at the fact that I've built this beautiful life and I have a great amount of friends and my husband's amazing and we have cats and I like my job and because I switched my job, I like my job. But there's just so many other things to focus on. So it's kind of just like give equal airtime to both, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, put the and in there. And
Mhm.
and I think that that is the important thing that both of us, it's the and, it's not the but. I've lost 100 pounds, but I look horrible because I have a bunch of saggy skin. No, I lost 100 pounds and I have saggy skin that reminds me of the journey I was on. And then
Yeah,
how we feel about it is how we feel about it. But embrace the and when you did, and that's exactly what you were saying. Embrace
yeah.
both.
Mhm. And also know there's choices. And that's it's just like even personality flaws. I get really hard on myself if I didn't handle something well, or it really will take up a lot of mind space and emotions. And then I have to either choose to still feel that way and just maybe wallow a whole day away about how I didn't necessarily handle something right, or I can say, okay, that's not who you are every day. It was a bad day. You didn't do your best. And the next time you know better to do something differently. But there's always a choice of what we spend our energy thinking about and feeling, right? And that's something that doesn't come easy or always work out the best, but it's a skill to practice. And as you practice it, the choice becomes louder when it's happening in the moment. Like, okay, I realize I'm spending a lot of negative energy on this. Is this where I want to stay, or do I want to look at something else?
Yeah. Again, the choices.
Mhm.
It's a gift to give ourselves those.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really
So
love this question. I think
I
this
do
was such a
too.
good one.
It was, and I appreciate Lori asking it because it's also very, I mean, it's all vulnerable what we talk about, but this is really vulnerable because loose skin, especially among a group of people who have a lot of weight to lose, is a very big and insecurity. It's very it just kind of weighs on you. It's always there. Like, oh, I've done all this and I finally got to the point where I'm healthy and a good weight. And now I have this to look at. Like I think, I know I used to think it's kind of like you get robbed. Like you're doing the right thing. You achieved all this. There's a lot of work that goes into it and a lot of time. And then I still have that. It feels a little unjust, I think. And that sometimes maybe where things come into play with feelings and but at the same time, like I said, I think, it's a thought you can have. It's a thought that I have, and I accepted it, and then I was like, "Okay, but honestly, the skin hangs now. It's just full of fat, so it's there. It's not new. It's just gonna look different, you know?"
It, yeah. And like you said during this call, during our conversation, there are thin women who have never had a weight issue who are
Mhm.
at the gym right now working on something about their body that they want to make better.
Mhm.
That's, whether whatever it is, you know what I mean? Maybe not because they don't like that part of their body, but just they just want to make it better, different.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah. Well, next week, it would be good to have, if you're listening and you got something out of this and you'd like to have your question answered, reach out to us. Put a comment on Facebook, email us, because we'd love to answer your question. And we'll put the email address in the notes too.
Yes, and the email address and the Facebook page are both the same. It's April and Debbie Dish the Truth. So easy to find. They match.
That we are good at that.
Yeah. And I know we had talked about a challenge for next week if
Yes.
everybody wants to participate. That especially with all the body talk, it was perfect timing with Lori's question. And we are both going to do it, and then we'll post it in the Facebook as well. That you would write 10 things that you appreciate about your body. And this gives you an exercise to think outside of, if you love your hair, your eyes, your lips, or even your arms or your legs, then that's great to put that down too. Also, I invite you to think about it in different ways, right? So, like my knees are really bad. I have issues with them, but, or and, see, it's so easy to say the but, it just flows, right? And I'm still able to walk. I still can do, Disney World with my friends and my husband. And that's a lot of walking. And okay, so when I go up the stairs, sometimes I have to take them like an old lady and go one at a time. I can't just like run up the stairs like everybody else, but I still get up the stairs. So I invite people to think of other things about their body, your arms, you're able to hug your loved ones. There's other ways to think about your body other than just the physical look of them. And I don't know if you have any thoughts on that either, Debbie.
Well, my favorite part about my body is I have just under my belly button to the right, there's like this little, I don't know if it's a dimple. It's like a dimple, and it is my reminder of the work that I've done because it has been there I could see it when I was at my largest weight, and I can see it when I am at my lowest and everywhere in between. And it's kind of like my little partner. It will tell.
Signature mark.
Yeah, it's weird because when it got bigger the more weight I lost. And so I feel like it's my little turkey timer telling me when I'm done. So, but some people might look at that and think that is a
I love that.
really weird thing on your body, but you know what? It is weird and it's fun.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, I love that. And I'm definitely going to call out Lori to do this exercise and would definitely invite you to share it on Facebook if you're comfortable doing that. If not, you can just send it in to us at the email, but I'd love to hear and see how that exercise worked for her.
That would be great. Well, it was fun to spend the morning with you, and we're gonna, I was almost keep blooming. That's what I want to tell you today.
Yes. And as always, wake up willing to do something for yourself.
All right, have a great day, everybody.
Bye.